front brakes right now. First, you want to remove your wheel. I lowered it to loosen up the lug nuts. I got it jacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the lug nuts. All right, so right here is a 13 millimeter, and that's a 21. So go ahead and break the caliper bolts loose. Right here, sometimes this will spin. Right here, we'll just spin with the thing. You can just get some channel locks to hold it. That way it doesn't stop moving. After that, you want to get a flathead screwdriver or pry bar. And right here where the caliper is, you want to kind of compress it in. So get the pry bar and pry towards you. Compress the caliper a little bit. Then you fit it here, pry it out. Pop the caliper, put it someplace secure, it won't fall. And then, as I said, right here, 21 millimeters. So go ahead and break those loose. All right, then you want to make sure your slide pins are nice and free. So go in and make sure they're not stuck or anything. If they are, you're gonna want to clean the bracket out and get some new slide pins. Got the caliper bolts loose, and take the caliper bolts out. Take off your rotor. Now if you're gonna get your rotor resurfaced, make sure you clean on the inside, especially right here, the parts that sits on the hub. And clean here. Usually you can use a wire brush, something, just use some, you know, if you don't have power tools, use your elbow grease. Then you're gonna want to go ahead and clean right here on the hub and the mating surface as well. Like I said, if you don't have power tools, use some wire brush, kind of scrub it as best you can. Okay, let's go. Okay, this one, the caliper bolt bracket right here, it's a 13. The caliper bracket bolt is gonna be 18. So I'm gonna go ahead and break both those loose. Then you're gonna take off the caliper. Just use a pry bar or flathead screwdriver. Pry it nice and slow. Once you have it out, make sure you inspect the boot. Make sure you don't see any tears or anything like that. And then you can hang it up properly, or it won't fall. You can use a wire hanger to strap it or anything, or if it has, you know, a spot to lay, you can put it there. And go ahead and take off these caliper bracket bolts. Alright, just make sure these slide pins are loose as well and not sticking. After that, you can take out the pads and start cleaning the hardware. These are the hardware, if you don't know what hardware is. Okay, if you look closely, you can notice there's hardly any pads. On the other side, you had a lot of meat. Now when that happens, you know something's sticking, either the caliper's sticking or your slide pins are sticking. So once I get this caliper off, we'll look at the boot and everything, check the slide pins. All right, here you see 3 little holes in the caliper boot. So water and stuff got all rusted, so that's probably why the caliper is sticking. So this one's gonna need a new caliper. And check here, the brakes. Alright, so I just got my wire brush. Gonna clean up the hub the best I can since I forgot to get my power tools. Alright, so I got the hub cleaned up, and now I'm gonna clean the bracket. Try to get all that brake dust off, dirt, make it look somewhat clean, so you know, take some pride in your work. Especially if you're doing this as a side job, you know, try to go the extra mile, make your customer happy. Clean it as best you can. Most people like just to leave all the brake dust and dirt on there. Like, doesn't look good. Go ahead and clean the brackets, and then we'll put the hardware and lube it up. All right, now we're gonna lube up the slide pins and the hardware on the brackets. So just got your brake grease. Just apply it. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Same with the other one. Nice and good. And here, you want to put lube all in these areas. So you can do it with your finger. You can use a little, I like to use a little screwdriver, flathead. Just put it there. Make sure you get all around. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest. All right, now I'm gonna compress the caliper. You can use a C-clamp, whatever you have to compress. I'm gonna be using my Lane 279 caliper compressor tool. Pop it loose. Caliper. Now I'm gonna lube up here on the piston and the sides of the caliper. Just get some grease. Apply to your finger. I like to put in 4 spots, just so helps smear easier. Then I go loop here. Same over there. And then go ahead and put the rotor on, put everything back together. So use the wire brush right here to clean back of the rotor, try to clean the surface, the hub. Sorry, it's nighttime now. Customer wanted the rotors cut, so I took them to O'Reilly's and they didn't finish until about 30 minutes ago. But so got the rotor on. Now we're gonna put the caliper bracket. So sometimes the rotor doesn't stay. You can just get a lug nut, screw it down. Hopefully it reaches, and it'll keep it in place for you, like that. Such. Get the caliper bracket. Go ahead and tighten those up. You want to could have put the pads on, but when you're looking at the pads, If you see the indicator for low brake pads, I always try to put them in the back, facing down, not in the front where they're up top or anything like that. So make sure, and sometimes they're on a certain side, so make sure you put on in the back facing down. So I'll put this one in. Then put the front pad in. Alright, that's there. About that move. Gonna put the caliper. Make sure your brake line's not all twisted up like this or something like that. Kinked. You don't want that. So make sure it's nice and free. Put the caliper. And you put your bolts just like this. And then go ahead and tighten those up. Alright, now for the rear, basically do the same thing as the front. I'm gonna take my wire brush, clean up the hub best I can, clean up the bracket, and clean up the mating surface in the hub area of the rotor. Just tighten up the caliper bracket bolts. Once the rotor and everything's put back on, the hardware all lubed up, gonna slap the pads on and the caliper. I got the caliper on, got it all lubed up. Gonna tighten up the two 13mm guide pin bolts. Alright, so after the brakes are done, go ahead and double check your bolts one more time. Make sure they're nice and tight, and then go ahead and put on the wheel. And you're gonna want to torque these lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds. Once they're nice and tight. Alright, pause it. You want to torque in a star pattern.